Pay for play, the big discussion. Is it time to allow college athletes to start accepting compensation for their performances on and off the field? First thing I'm going to go over some facts. Then I'm going to go over some cons and pros. Since 1940s, college athletes have not been allowed compensation for their performances, and traditionally this has been looked at as an unethical thing. In the 1940s, there was problems with Yale and Harvard using money to persuade players to do what they wanted them to do, be it go to their college or persuade other college students to perform less to their ability so that the colleges could win. Since then, the sports culture has changed drastically. The NCAA since 1998 has earned $150 million a year from CBS just for the allowance of allowing CBS to broadcast the men's NCAA Final Four tournaments on their station. In Division I schools such as Kentucky, the market value of a player is $1.5 million per player, while the scholarship is nearly only a measly $17.5 thousand per player. This leaves a big gap. Sometimes these scholarships fall very short of what the player needs to attend that school. A lot of these schools are very expensive to go to, and there's other things that need to be involved. Some of these guys do not get to eat at night, such as the guy from the University of Connecticut. He said that his scholarship was so short and that the schools were not allowing him to work since he was playing in sports that he had no money, and there was many nights when he went to bed hungry. Now, on the opposite side of the scale, coaches, many of them earn over $100,000 a year. And with endorsement packages and compensation packages, a lot of them get up to over $1 million a year. Nick Saban, the head coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide football team, earns over $6.9 million a year. That is a huge difference. And then the players, still nothing. Now, a thing to look at is of the 331 Division I schools, only 23 of them have an operating surplus. So that means to say that all of the big Division I schools are running away with the lion's share of the money, while all of the smaller guys are left out in the cold and they really cannot compete anymore. With this, with the unallowance of compensation for the players, a lot of things have arisen. Illegal boosters and illegal endorsements, illegal forms of education and tutoring have come along so that the students don't have to focus on their schooling anymore, that they can just kind of ease their way through their classes and focus on their sports. This is really, really unethical in a lot of eyes of people, myself included. So this is the first con that we come to. Other than that, it is unfair to the small schools because they're not able to keep up. They cannot afford to pay these big time athletes to perform at their college when you got guys like Alabama and University of Kentucky who can come up with millions of dollars and say, hey, you come to our school, we're going to give you free equipment and stuff like that. So this is a bad thing that would come with the compensation to these players. Another source I have suggests that with this compensation, since we already have so many problems with keeping the illegal boosters out, how would they maintain and regulate the new rules? How would you say that if you give a player a maximum of a stipend of $10,000 to $15,000 a year so that they can live and not have to work and perform and focus on their school and in their sport, how are you going to regulate that? Is it going to be regulated, or are you going to have under the table deals going on still, which is where we're at today anyways? But on the pro side of things, there's some arguments to be made for the players. A lot of these players are spending their time working very hard to compete in these sports and stay up in school, but they have nothing to show for it in the long run. A lot of them aren't going to go to the league. They aren't going to get all of that. And so they're stuck to grind really hard, and it leaves them in quite a predicament. Sometimes when a student gets a full ride scholarship to go play at a big school, there's an instance where this person gets injured. If this person gets injured, the NCAA has given teams right to exterminate their contract or their scholarship, say, and not allow them to play anymore. And really, they just pay for the medical bills, and then that person is left with permanent damage. Whatever happens, they cannot. They have to find a way to pay for their school from there on out. Another thing that they want to look at is compensating players for their livelihoods. These players, a lot of times in Division One schools, are all over the TV. They can't go outside without being recognized. Around their campus, they're superstars, which has ups and downs. There's going to be always people bothering them. A lot of people might like the attention, but some people might not like that attention. So these people should be allowed to be put on TV like Johnny Manziel, where he was not allowed to accept any compensation from Nike, yet they wanted him to be all over TV. Same with Cam Newton and countless other players that you can think of. So we've reached a point where the decision to be made and the actions that we take will permanently affect sports culture as a whole for a long, long time. So every decision that we make from this point out has to be very precise, and we have to look at the pros and cons of every side and decide, is this going to be a good thing to do or is this going to be bad? I cannot say I waive completely 100% in favor of paying the athletes because, like with the cons, it does show that there's going to be a lot of players who are left out, and they're going to be doing the same work, same effort, but they're just not going to be treated fairly. And then again, there's going to be the teams who are not going to be able to compete anymore, and maybe this might even eliminate Division Two and Division Three sports altogether because they will not be able to compete. So with that, I'd like to conclude